In this lesson, we're going to paint a realistic bowl of salad. Mix up a very dark black using your 3 primary colors and block in the background. You can add a few low-level contrasting areas using touches of white if you want to. The salad of the background must look out of focus, so we will have to be careful to soften any hard edges in this area. Mix up a few greens using sap green, cadmium yellow, French ultramarine, and white. Then block these colors in the places that you see them in the distant salad leaves. Blend the colors into each other using a tapping motion, making sure to not leave any hard edges. Now do the same for the olive using the background color and white. Again, use a tapping motion to soften any hard edges. For the cheese, I've used white plus touches of the surrounding colors to show its shape. For these dark foreground leaves, I've added crimson to the background color, blocked them in, and shaded them lighter using white. So this stage of the painting covers half the canvas and it goes really quick. Everything else, however, is in sharp focus, so it's going to take a lot longer and we'll need to put in a lot more detail to get it looking good. So let's start with the main salad leaf. We'll first concentrate on getting its basic shape correct. So use the same greens as you've used for the background to block in the correct colors at the correct places and then blend them into each other. As you do this, ignore the light that's reflecting off the leaf. We'll paint the reflections later. Now add the veins and the detail lines using a contrasting green. To show the leaf curls out of sight, use a very quick shading and a super dark green. I detail this front bottom leaf using the lightest leaf color, a fine liner, and a light tapping motion. For the main tomato, block in the basic colors at the basic places, and then shade them into each other. So you can use quite a lot of white into the top area to show that the light is shining through that part of the tomato. In the bottom right hand area, you can go quite dark to show that this area is in shadow. As you work, leave the seed areas empty to make sure that you don't lose their position. But once you've completed that whole face of the tomato, then come back and soften those edges of the seeds. And that softening is going to help us embed those seeds later on. You're going to use the same blocking in and blending technique on the right-hand tomato. What I do want you to notice though is the change in tonal value between the left and the right-hand sides of the tomato. That change in tonal value indicates that there's an angle change, so you have to get that right. The colors that I've used for the tomatoes is cadmium red, cadmium orange, alizarin crimson, sap green to darken, and white. In the skin area, just add a basic shading and ensure that you've got enough contrast and color change between the skin area and the surrounding tomato. Don't worry about the reflections in the skin for now. We'll also paint that later. What you do want to do though is make sure that you've painted in that shadow cast by the front tomato onto the back tomato, as that lifts the front tomato off the back one. Now you can paint the seeds using raw umber, yellow ochre, and titanium white. To make a seed look sunken and embedded into the tomato, soften its edges. To make it look deeper inside the tomato, mix it more into the tomato color. To make it look further out, add less and less of the tomato color. To show that it's exposed, keep its edges nice and sharp and crisp, and its colors clean. We now need to leave this painting to dry before we can move on and add the lighting effects. So once it's dry, mix up some sky color using titanium white and a touch of cerulean blue. Now you'll need to look quite carefully at the main salad leaf to spot where the light is reflecting off of the leaf. Then use small amounts of the sky color and a dry brushing technique to add these reflections to the leaf. Use the same color to add the reflecting sparkles onto the tomato, the skin, and the seeds. And finally, to complete the painting, add a dark out of focus leaf in front of the tomatoes for contrast. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please like and comment below, and of course subscribe for more tutorials.